It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show, The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs.
Good morning, race fans, and welcome to The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That is, as always, karting with a K. Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs, fast-paced, white-knuckle racing. If you haven't done it yet, quit dilly-dallying around. I'm going to pull out my father's kinds of words. Quit dilly-dallying around. Get down to Joe's Karting and do yourself some racing. Do yourself right. It's beautiful racing. It's fantastic. It's so much fun. You got to get down there. And it's pretty cost-effective. I mean, a lot of people tell me the same thing, like, gosh, that seems like a lot. But then as soon as they get off the cart, they're like, nope, totally worth it. So get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs today and find out what everyone has been raving about. Turn number 1 brought to you by Kansas Speedway. Tickets for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race Saturday night, May 9th are available now. Call 866-460-RACE or visit KansasSpeedway.com. We've been talking about it for a few years about how great of a facility it is to go down there and watch racing. So make sure you do it. May 9th, KansasSpeedway.com. And speaking of a great facility and a great event, we're going to be at Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs for the Daytona 500 kickoff to the 2015 NASCAR Series.
It's here. It's here.
Finally
Race day
here.
is here.
I've been watching everything out of I'm not even kidding you. I DVR'd all the practices while they were going on Wednesday and Thursday while I was at work, and I watched them, and I need a life. As if it isn't bad enough that I have 2 cats named after Stewart Haas racing drivers, I actually DVR qualifying and practice and then watch them late at night drinking my Sam Adams.
Well, at least you're not videoing it.
That's true. Hey, we got a big show lined up for you today. Right now, we're going to recap some of the off-season news. In turn number 2, we're going to talk with a guy by the name of Craig Kelley. You know that name.
Yes, sir. I know Mr. Kelley.
Mr. Kelley used to promote and own Sunset Speedway, and then he got a real-life job as a lawyer, as a personal injury lawyer at Kelley and Inserra and Kelley personal injury law firm. Craig's going to join us because you remember last year when Tony Stewart had that whole situation with Kevin Ward and the grand jury results came out. I called Craig and said, walk me off the cliff because I'm freaking out that my driver's going to spend 12 to 15 in San Quentin, and he was able to walk me off the cliff. And he's going to do the same thing for us in turn number 2 as far as Kurt Busch is concerned, because earlier this week, the grand jury did grant Patricia Driscoll the, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's basically a restraining order. It is a personal protection order, I believe. Basically means Kurt's got to stay away from her. And when I see that, I think, well, they believe that Kurt is guilty of committing what she has alleged he committed, which was domestic assault. And Craig's going to break it down for us.
Well, he's got to stay away from her, but she can come to his mobile home.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where that goes, but that's why we're talking to Craig.
So we'll talk to Craig about that and figure out what's going on, get the latest information on that. In turn number 3, we're going to talk with Craig Preble. Man, this is why I'm having trouble with names today, is because we got a Craig, and we've got a Chad. I got to break it up a little bit. Craig Preble's going to join us. You're good friends with Craig. Dirk, you're good friends with him about what he's got going on and his road to recovery. So we'll talk to him about that in turn number 3. Inspiring story. And we'll also get you some information on where you can go to donate. The best thing about, honestly, the best thing about this racing community is that when one of us falls down, the rest of us pick us up.
Absolutely.
And I love that about this community. It is absolutely one of the first things I noticed is when somebody passes the helmet, it's not a couple $100. It's $1,000. It's $1,500. And that's exactly the way it should be in life. And you don't get to say that very often. So we'll talk to Craig about his road to recovery in turn number 3. Then we'll wrap it all up in turn number 4, talk about the Pick'ems contest, and we're going to have a NASCAR fantasy expert. Chad Robb is going to join us. Bleacher Report contributor. He is a fantasy league expert, and he's going to help you with some tips and tricks to doing the Pick'ems contest, and sounds like Chad's going to participate in it, although he's not going to be able to win prizes because he's an expert, and we want to leave it fair to the fans, but he is going to give advice to anybody and everybody that's trying to beat Sonia Worth. It's all about beating Sonia Worth this year.
And then you can step up your game and see if you can beat Chad.
Yeah, there you go. And I think after talking with Chad, maybe we'll come up with some sort of a contest as far as if you beat Chad, you win some extra prizes. So we'll see about that. A lot of great prizes in the books. We'll talk about that coming up in turn number 4. So that's the show as we are getting it ready for the 2015 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. A couple of, let's see, housekeeping notes. Sprint Unlimited. Holy heck, what a race.
Demo Derby.
Listen, I finished that race, and if you guys have, a lot of you fans, longtime fans of the show, know I'm not a fan of super speedways. I think for Daytona, in a what is it, 189 laps, 200 laps, I think. I can't remember. It's about 200, about 180
Daytona?
laps. Yeah.
Daytona's 200 laps.
The 500 laps. Okay. 195 of it isn't that great. It's the last 5 laps that are absolutely fantastic. And then now that I've said that, it's going to be a great race all race long. But my point is that these drivers, when they strap in for the 500, nobody's really going to push the envelope from about lap 20 to about lap 190 because you gain absolutely nothing by wrecking in that gap there. Okay, so they're going to play it safe. They're going to take it easy. They're going to test and find out what their car's worth and what they could do and how they kind of feel out of the drivers. And that's a little interesting. But the Sprint Unlimited, 75 laps. Those guys were battling every single lap. And I think, honestly, I know it's sacrilege to say it, but the Daytona 500 needs to be shortened. Talladega needs to be shortened because it will compact the action and you'll see more out of it. I think we'll see more like what the Sprint Unlimited is.
Well, Daytona is the only place that runs heat races.
That's true.
2 heat races, Thursday night, and they ought to run heat races everywhere. Then they could cut the race in half.
That would be amazing. I would be behind doing that. I would absolutely be behind doing that. And I think there's a lot of NASCAR fans that would be behind doing that. And I wouldn't put it past NASCAR to explore it in probably the next 10 years.
Well, I think with all your pull, you just ought to go ahead and send off Brian France an email.
Okay.
See what you can get done with that.
Well, I think Brian has a restraining order against me.
Or he would have soon.
Yeah, maybe I'll ask Craig about that. Craig Kelley, what I can do and can't do with that restraining order that they put on me after last October at Kansas Speedway. But we won't get into that. We don't need to get into that details. Off-season changes. Actually, let's go back to pole winner for the Daytona 500. Can you get a better story? It's his final Daytona 500, and Jeff Gordon's sitting on the pole.
Okay, we were watching, I don't know if anybody saw the Race Hub. I believe it was on Tuesday. It was Monday or Tuesday on the Race Hub. They showed, Gordon winning the pole, and they talked about the fact that he started the second row at his first Daytona 500, but he led the first lap of his first Daytona 500. And Kyle Petty brought something up. It would be kind of cool if he would lead the last lap of his last Daytona 500.
That would be cool. Man, how much NASCAR Nation would go, okay, what's a better scenario? Dale Jr. winning the Daytona 500 or Jeff Gordon winning the Daytona 500?
Neither one.
Then I'm betting you're not taking either of those for your picks in the Pick'em contest.
I'm not going to take either one of them. I mean, I like the underdogs at Daytona.
I do too.
When Trevor Bayne won, that was awesome.
I do too. And kind of going back to, I think Daytona's kind of a throwaway race. I think the super speedways are throwaway races because your best of the bests are just as likely to get caught up in accidents as the lower tier teams. So why waste a good pick on a chance like that? Let's save him for tracks where technical know-how, superior talent comes into play. But yeah, that's stuff we can talk with Chad Robb about in turn number 4. But I don't know. I think it'd be a big question because Earnhardt Nation is massive.
Well, if Gordon does win, I mean, you'll see conspiracy theories coming all over the place.
There's conspiracy theories whether whoever wins. I mean, come on. There's Kurt Busch won. Well, they did it just to make him look better after his core problems. Oh well,
keep him out of jail.
Well, yeah, yeah. Oh, man. Well, Reed Sorensen won? Well, it was just because Clint Boyer raised such a fuss after qualifying wrecks. That's the reason why he won. The black helicopters are absolutely amazing. I get such a kick out of those people because there's no solid thinking whatsoever. Facts, forget it. We got conspiracies.
Way too much money in it for the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, no kidding. So Gordon sits on the pole. What do you think about him retiring? Would you that story came out really quickly in the postseason or in the off season when we were doing the Legends of the Dirt Series. We didn't really get to talk about it much.
If he'd have won the title last year, he'd have retired last year. I honestly believe.
You think so?
Yeah, I really do. He doesn't have anything to prove in the sport.
That's true.
He's got the back problem, which flares up a couple times a year. I think he would have retired, and I still think he'll show up every now and then. It just probably won't be at Daytona. Yeah,
this format really bodes well for his situation, and I think this new format makes it less of a young man's game. Your older guys that are on the downturn of their talent and their career, not to say Jeff's he's just not as talented as he was back in the early 2000s when he was winning 4 championships, But this is one of those that go out there and push for, just beat the wheels off that car for one race, win it, and you're in the postseason.
Oh, yeah. Your body slows down, your reactions slow down.
Yeah.
And, that's a huge thing. That was one of the reasons Dale Jarrett quit when he did, because he was pretty much still on the top of his game. Mm-hmm. But he walked out, and then you've seen some other guys that just drag it out and keep going and run, an extra 5 seasons after they announced their retirement. Rusty Wallace got out and went out.
They Brett Favre it.
Back in. Yeah. Mark Martin, has showed up up until a year ago.
Well, how about Mark Martin, no longer driver developmental working with drivers at Roush Fenway? That was all of a sudden quick that he just tweeted, "I'm no longer with Roush Fenway."
Yeah, I think there's a lot of changes going on at Roush Fenway. A lot of changes. So
that's really weird. Why would you bring him on? Because that was a big thing for a lot of Roush fans. Was like, great, Mark's back. He can teach these young drivers because there's 2 really young drivers there that need a veteran, and Mark could have been that. And then all of a sudden, nope, never mind.
Well, again, with him not having time in the new cars with the new rules package, the shorter spoiler, the less downforce and everything, less horsepower, I don't know how much he can contribute.
Yeah, that's true. And it's a different car than when he was at the peak of his game. I got a few minutes left in the break, so let's talk Earnhardt failing post-qualifying inspection for his car being too low. Some races I would say that is a factor in your decision to who you're going to take for the Pickens contest today. But to be real honest with you, it's Daytona. It doesn't matter where you start in the field. You could be at the front in a couple of laps.
Yeah, but if it would come back through, if he would win the race and get into post-race inspection again, you're looking at losing points.
Yeah, and throwing the NASCAR world up in arms too. By the way, new crew chief for him, Greg Ives, said that it was just a simple mistake. NASCAR worked with us to get it fixed. We have it fixed now, and it won't happen again. So we'll chalk that up to first-time Sprint Cup Series
jitters.
Crew chief. Jitters, yeah, just one of those things. He kind of fell under the gun for that and said, nope, that was my fault. All right, what do you say we take a little bit of a break and we talk with Craig Kelley coming up in turn number 2 about the Kurt Busch situation. And again, in turn number 3, we'll talk with Craig Preble about his road to recovery. And then in turn number 4, we'll talk with Chad Robb, NASCAR fantasy expert. He's Dirk Houston. I am Dan Taylor. We'll be back with the front stretch into turn number 2. You're on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
Sports fans, the brightest stars of NASCAR are about to light up the night again at Kansas Speedway. Megastars Dave, Danica, Carl, Clint, Jeff, and more. Saturday, May 9th, it's our 2nd annual NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race. Parking is free and coolers welcome. Tickets on sale now with even more seats for $99 or less. Kids tickets just $29. Call 866-460-RACE or visit kansasspeedway.com today.
We're working the high line into turn 2 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to the show, heading into turn number 2 here on the front stretch, and it's time to talk a little bit of legal action as Kurt Busch has gotten himself into some hot water, so I'm pulling in the best guy I know. His name is on the side of the building for Inserra and Kelley Personal Injury. They take care of motorcycle accidents, wrongful death accidents, bike accidents, and of course, like I just said, personal injuries. So Craig Kelley joining us on the phone. Craig, how have you been, sir?
I've been good. Happy New Year.
Yes, indeed. How's your winter been?
Too cold. Too much snow, but it's about racing season. I've been seeing results from Florida, and we're in Speed Week, so you can't beat that.
Yeah, it's gonna be glorious to have have our racing season back and kick off the 2015 season. Craig, I want to talk to you because last year when Tony Stewart was going through his whole situation with the grand jury in New York and the Kevin Ward situation, you really helped us through figuring out what everything meant. So if you could, for me, please, we'll get you caught up real quick. Kurt Busch, earlier this week, was ordered by a judge to stay away from his former ex-girlfriend, Patricia Driscoll. So what is the restraining order that has been placed on Kurt Busch, and what does that mean?
Well, it's common in marital or domestic or breakup situations for a party that has been threatened or allegedly assaulted to go to, usually it's a low-level court, like in Nebraska, it's county court, county court or district court, and apply for a protection order. And the standard language is kind of what we've seen in this claim. Can't go within so many feet, can't phone, text, email, just trying to keep the general intent of a protection order is to protect the party that's requesting it. And with the allegations being made of an assault by Kurt Busch on this lady, that an application for a domestic protection order would be very common, and normally granted without much fanfare, because there's a criminal investigation ongoing in this Busch matter at the Attorney General level in Delaware. It would also not be abnormal for Busch's legal team to fight that protection order, saying, we didn't do anything wrong, so why is there a need for a protection order? So the way things have went down so far are not abnormal in any way. Normally, a party goes in and asks for a protection order. It's a 5-minute hearing. They get sworn in, and they say, he threatened me, he struck me, he did whatever, and the judge routinely grants them unless they're opposed, and normally they're not. In this case, because of the ongoing criminal investigation and the public relations stakes that are involved, in Omaha, it's the same way. If it's a high-profile person that's involved, an athlete, a executive, something like that, you'll see them opposed here as well. And it doesn't surprise me at all that Kurt Busch and his legal team wholeheartedly opposed it, saying, we didn't do anything wrong, so there's no need for a protection order. So, and the finding by the judge that this woman would be granted the protection order is not anything of big significance either, because she has made allegations that he grabbed her and struck her head against something several times. And so nothing that's happened so far, Dan, is really of any big significance. The real significant findings, and what everybody's watching, if you watch the NASCAR and Haas and sponsor press releases, is to see if there's any charges actually filed by the Attorney General's office based on the allegations made against Kurt Busch. And I don't see that happening for a little bit of time yet, till they talk to everybody involved. And what I find as I read up on these press releases yesterday to prepare for us talking this morning, I was shocked as I read some of some of the facts that are involved in the opposition to the protection order with this about her being a trained killer and such were, I thought, probably of more interest than the actual legal proceedings so far.
Yeah, I think I agree. I kind of, it's tough to joke about this kind of a situation because the NFL is going through a horrible situation with this and a couple of their players in domestic violence, but I did get a little bit of a chuckle when Kurt Busch played the my ex-girlfriend's a former CIA operative card. I didn't see that one coming.
No, that is bizarre. But, Kurt's kind of a crazy cat, and he's got a little bit of a history, not only with his temper, but with some off-the-wall things that he said and done in past relationships with other drivers and team owners, et cetera. So I'm less surprised about his testimony with it coming from him than I would be from another driver. But no matter who it's coming from, it was pretty far out there.
So get back to the ruling. What I kind of got from it, and I'm going to try to sum it up, so if you need to kind of define it a little bit more, feel free. But what I got from that was, generally in these situations, a person applies for the personal protection order, and they're generally granted because it's just an easy thing to do. Yeah, you know what? You two just stay away from each other. We're going to grant this order so that everyone stays away. And now it seems like Kurt Busch's attorneys could fight it to clear his name, essentially.
Yeah, they'll appeal the protection order, and they'll say that it was wrongfully granted, and that will be a side proceeding that will be ongoing besides this criminal investigation, which I will guarantee you they're much more worried about that because they want to their strategy has to be to try in every way possible to have the Attorney General either say there's not sufficient evidence to bring the charges or at least throw it to a grand jury like happened in the Stewart matter so they can go in a private setting and talk about what happened. But yes, the answer to your question is they're very routinely granted, and it is just to normally these things go along with a breakup or a divorce filing, and it serves not only the two parties, but normally kids and families and neighbors and everything else to have these things granted so that there's not a situation that can escalate into a problem.
Do you think this ruling could cause Kurt to lose his ride if it's a temporary suspension, or is this just kind of a process, still a part of the process that NASCAR probably won't rule yet?
Based on the fact that this is a protection order granted on allegations that have been proven in no way, shape, or form, and granted by the judge as a precautionary measure, I am certain that this protection order, the granting of this protection order, will have no offense. Will have no pretenses or effect on his driving. Now, if they do file criminal charges against him for the actual assault, the domestic assault, that's going to be when it'll get very interesting to see how NASCAR reacts after the NFL woes, team owners react, and sponsors react.
Craig Kelley of Inserra and Kelley Personal Injury Law Firm. You can find him online, Inserra.com, and just search over for Kelley. Call 402-391-4000, located at 67th and Grover. Kelley. Craig, we always do appreciate you joining the show. Great insight, as always. And once again, you have calmed me down.
Well, I'm glad that I can get you off the ledge when I call because and I'd be happy to talk to you about other things besides legal matters as
Twice
well.
Now.
But, if you ever want to call, but whenever one of these guys gets in trouble, I'm always here for you.
Yeah, we're going to get you on the show. We got to get you on more often because we've got to, without giving away too much, you got a book to write and we got to promote it. So we'll just leave it at that.
All right. Thank you very much. You have a great rest of your weekend.
You too. Thanks, Craig. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye. And again, Craig Kelley of Inserra and Kelley Personal Injury Law Firms, taking care of personal injuries, motorcycle accidents, which quite frankly happen way too often. And if you are involved in one, you should contact Craig Kelley at Inserra and Kelley and make sure you're taken care of. I'm a little critical of lawyers, but it never hurts to call and make sure that, quite frankly, you don't have some sort of case that can be heard and you can be taken care of for your injuries. So give them a call. Personal injury, motorcycle accidents, wrongful death, bicycle accidents. They'll take care of a lot of your personal injury cases and all that kind of stuff. Inserra and Kelley, 67th and Grover, 402-391-4000, or online at inserra.com, INSERRA.com. You can also use the Google machine and track them down that way. Appreciate Craig Kelley always joining us. We'll be back in turn number 3 to talk to Chad Preble. Stick around. We'll be back. Turn number 3. This is the front stretch.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the front stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
This is Andrew from Kaziski Auto Parts. Kaziski Auto Parts is an insurance-quality used parts supplier that can match your foreign or domestic car or truck needs. If you have a damaged or broke-down car or truck, we guarantee a clean and quality part in next-day fashion. Kaziski Auto Parts, your neighborhood premium recycled parts supplier. Call any Kaziski Auto Parts salesman today by dialing 402-731-4592 or visit us at 5040 I Street in Omaha. Kaziski Auto Parts, our quality used parts will match your car or truck's needs.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Kosiski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into turn 3 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
Welcome back to the front stretch. We're heading into turn number 3, and it's time to talk to a local racing legend. Craig Preble joining us on the radio to talk a little bit about his road to recovery. Craig, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk to us a little bit.
Thank you, yes. Just got done with rehab for today here at QLI, and getting ready to go back to my room to relax for a little bit.
Craig, can you talk us through what your state is right now? I know Dirk's been getting me updated with you. You're starting to get a little bit of movement back in your legs. Is that correct?
Yes. As of right now, I'm still considered a quadriplegic. I've got really pretty good movement in my right leg. I can kick it out and kick it in. I can't lift it yet to take a step. I can also do the same thing with my left leg, but just not all the time. So I haven't been able to stand up or take any steps yet. 2 days ago in therapy, my therapist and he grabbed my hand and told me to push, and I stood up for the first time in 9 months. So that was pretty awesome. Pretty amazing day. I didn't get to take any steps because I can't move my legs yet, I can't walk, but with help, I can stand up.
Was that a pretty emotional time for you to be able to make that that figurative step to move forward like that?
Yeah. It was amazing. I mean, this road that I'm going down is something I never figured I'd have to. It's been a long summer and fall already, and until something like this happens to you, you just don't imagine what people are going through when they have an injury like this.
Hey, Craig, we've known each other for quite a while. I mean, I know your whole family and everything, but you are blessed that you got a great support group there with you doing this to you.
Yes, with my whole family and my in-laws in town, I've got somebody here at all times, or if I need something or want to see anybody, all my friends, whether it's like you or all my racing friends, all my work friends, I've got a great support group around me at all times. Weekends are pretty busy with visitors, and we recently bought a van, so my wife, and she comes and picks me up whenever she can, and we get to go out to my house where a lot of the people here, they don't have family around. Not many people here that are here are from Omaha, Nebraska. So it's been a blessing for me that QLI is located here.
We were talking the other day, and you were telling me how great that place is. Why don't you give everybody a little synopsis of what it's like staying there at QLI?
When I had my choices of some places to go, and this was one of them. And I did my research in about 2 or 3 days and called some of my cousins that are in the medical field, and they said one place about QLI is you'll get as much treatment and much therapy as you need, and everybody will help you to the full extent that you need help, and whatever you need, the resources will be there. And one other thing I heard was that you'll never hear a bad word about QLI. And I've been here for about 7 months now, and I'm a testament to that, because I have nothing bad to say about Quality Living Inc. They are all that they're advertised.
So were the other places you were looking at and researching, were they all in Omaha or just QLI, and it was just a bonus?
The only one that is in Omaha was QLI. Obviously, I started out at Emmanuel Hospital in their acute rehab, which is obviously very good too. It's all brand new. The other places there's one in Lincoln, there's one in Madonna, which is real good, is in Lincoln, and then Craig Hospital is in Colorado, out in Denver, which, my big thing, nothing against the other ones. My number one choice for all my rehab was Emmanuel, and QLI was right here in Omaha, right next to my family. It just worked out great for me. My wife's office for her company is not 5 minutes from here. So, that's another issue where, my family can be here, and they can be here 24 hours a day, anytime I need them. It works out great, especially with seeing my 4-year-old son, Camden. They bring him up here just about every day to see me.
Talking with Craig Preble, who was injured back in September after an accident, and in June. I'm sorry about that, and was treated here locally in Omaha. Craig, can you give us an update on what the doctors are thinking about your chances of getting up and doing some walking again?
He wants your prognosis, Craig, is what he's looking for.
For me getting up walking, that's obviously a long shot. As of right now, I still have no feeling in my left leg. Both my legs are stronger now, probably, than when I came in here, which is, amazing. When I first got injured back in June, they pretty much told me, walking was out of the equation. I think we're going to prove them wrong someday. It's not going to happen overnight. I've got most of the use of both of my arms. I still have no use of my hands or my fingers. My fingers on my right hand are moving real good. My left arm is really strong, but my fingers don't work, so the upper body's going really good. Lower body is coming along, but slow. My injury was a complete C4. I blew up C3, C4, and C5, so I've got a lot of metal and a lot of rods in my back that are holding everything together now, so hopefully I'll be able to get my hands working. That's kind of what I'm praying for. And we work on the walking part every day, obviously.
Craig, where can people go to get updates on your progress and maybe even make some donations to help you out with some of the medical bills?
Yes, we have a fund set up. It's the Craig Preble Benefit Fund. It's set up at IBW Local 22 Federal Credit Union. And anything that we receive, we're using we had to update our house, open up all the doorways, change all the bathrooms. So we're using them funds to help with all of that and to hopefully outfit a van that is a little more adaptable for me so I might be able to drive. And then we also have a website that is called caringbridge.com. People can donate through that, and they can also check our updates on our progress here at QLI. And I think it was just updated with a video of me standing up yesterday. So caringbridge.com is where that would be located.
Craig, we do appreciate your time, and of course we're giving you our best of luck and sending our prayers your way. Please don't hesitate if there's anything the Front Stretch can do to help out. If you guys having a fundraiser coming up or any kind of an event, let us know. We'll promote the heck out of it for you.
Well, I sure appreciate it, and I sure appreciate all the racing community has done already. They've been there behind my back. I-80 Speedway's already helped out a lot, and I sure appreciate everything everybody's done for me and my family.
Hey, Craig, if you get a van that you can start driving, does that mean there's going to be another new class at I-80?
Yeah. I'll have to talk to them, see if they'll let me in it, since I already got some experience in other classes. I don't know if they'll let me.
Craig Preble, man, we appreciate you joining us, and you're in our prayers. Thanks, man.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Craig. You have a good day.
All right, you too.
Seems to be in good spirits. Craig Preble joining us, or injured back in June. I apologize. I got some I'm shaking the rust off from vacation, so I apologize about that. All right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We've got heavy hitters in the studio, ladies and gentlemen. Joining us in just a little bit, a NASCAR Fantasy League expert, Chad Robb, is going to join us. Located right here in Omaha. He is a top-notch. And listen, I'm not kidding here. I pulled in the big dogs to bring down Sonia Wirth. She is not going to win. Maybe she'll win it this year, but just not by so much. Sonia, it's basically we're putting a bounty out on you. So we'll be back at turn number 4 to talk to Chad about fantasy strategies. We'll be back. This is the Front Stretch.
Are you looking to book your next outing? Look no further than Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Located just north of Bass Pro Shop, Joe's Karting can handle outings of well over 100-plus people. Bachelor parties, corporate outings, team building, birthday parties, and much more. Give Buddy a call today and reserve your outing. Joe's will even work with local restaurants to cater your event. Book yours today at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. It's time to get to Joe's and find out what everyone already knows.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he's talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at 402-731-4592. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into turn 4 on the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
Welcome back to the front stretch. Just about ready to wrap this baby up. We are heading into turn number 4, presented by the official watering hole of the front stretch, Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. It is the site of the Pick'ems contest party today. Last chance to get signed up before the Daytona 500. Green flag today on Fox at noon, the start of the 2015 race season. Get down to Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs today at 11 o'clock. Our friends over across the signal at CD 105.9 are going to be down there giving out gift certificates to Bass Pro Shop, tickets to I-80, prizes from Quaker Steak and Lube. We're still working on getting some more prizes as the time we talked about, or we recorded the show on Wednesday night, but it should be a great time. Come down and watch the show, watch the race, and you can get signed up for the Pick'ems contest. It's something really simple. Just email me right now if you're not a part of the contest, frontstretch590@gmail.com. I'll get you all the information, or you can stop down to Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs and find out the rules. I think we've made it pretty easy. Pick your driver. You get those championship driver points for that weekend's race. You can only pick a driver a maximum of 2 times during the regular season, once during the chase. But if you happen to say you only picked a driver once during the regular season, you can pick him again twice during the chase. But you got that 5 rules. There's a couple of rules in there that I'm not going to bore you with it on the radio this morning, but there's a couple of rules in there. We just simply threw it in there because we want to make sure that you're not just, well, frankly, taking Jimmy Johnson and Brad Keselowski every weekend and racking up big old points. So we're pulling in a fantasy expert. Chad Robb is joining us now, NASCAR fantasy expert. Chad, you've got quite the little resume, and you contacted me. You're going to be a part of the Pick'ems contest, so people are going to have a tough time getting by you because you kind of seem to know what you're doing here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, first off, I'd like to thank you guys for having me on the show. Fancy NASCAR, I've been doing it for 20 years now. I've been doing it longer than the internet existed.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
What did you do with stats before the internet existed?
Well, it was pretty basic. I put a VCR tape in the VCR. At the end of the race, when they showed who finished 1 through 43, I'd have to keep pausing and writing down what drivers finished where. And I made it a pretty simple league where you just got 43 points if you finish first, 1 point if you finish last. And I had a bunch of guys that got into it. It was pretty cool.
A lot of, and you are you're a contributor to the Bleacher Report at BleacherReport.com. Also, Speedway Digest, Race Review Online, and fantasy. You have a fantasy NASCAR Facebook profile. A fantasy page. Facebook.com/NASCAR Tips from Chad.
Yes, that's where you go to get the best information. Unlike other sites, I update my stuff on my Facebook page regularly. I also chat with my fans. They always ask me a bunch of questions. I try to get back to them with answers, and it seems like they really appreciate that one-on-one contact with me, stuff that they don't get at other sites.
Chad, give me your strategy when you're sitting down and you're deciding, do you do it every weekend, Sunday morning? Like when I picked mine weeks ago, or a couple of years ago when I actually participated in it and didn't run it, I like to sit down and watch the pre-race shows, know how the qualifying went, know how the practices went, know how the previous years went before I made my pick. What's your strategy for doing it?
Well, my strategy all starts with experience, really, knowing what drivers are good at what tracks. But what makes NASCAR unique from other sports is they give you an opportunity to watch practices before each race. Like for the Daytona 500, they're going to have 6 practices before the Daytona is finally run today. And if you sit there and watch, you don't have to watch all the practices, but if you just check out the lap times from the practices, you can get a good idea who's got the strong cars, who's really struggling to keep up. And that's really big. The other sports, football, baseball, they don't give the bettors a chance to see 4 innings before you go place your bet at the window. That's what really is unique about NASCAR. The other thing is NASCAR's really a numbers game. You got got to look at what drivers are good at which tracks. Some drivers are good at short tracks. Some are good on super speedways. Some are, good on mile-and-a-half races. So you just got to look at what drivers are good at which tracks. And if you need any help with that, that's why I'm here.
And some drivers own tracks, like Phoenix with Mr. Harvick.
Yeah, he is. I think he's going to be an owner of that track for a while.
Or you could go with Jimmy Johnson at Dover.
Yeah.
He's got 9 wins there. He's pretty big.
I want to ask you this strategy. Your pick for today for the Daytona 500, you're taking
Dale Earnhardt.
It's always been as far as our league is concerned, where I can only take a driver twice during the regular season and one more time during the postseason, during the chase season. It's been kind of my strategy not to take an upper echelon driver at the super speedways. Am I off on that, or do you? I mean, Dale's good at super speedways. Let's not count him out on that. So is it?
Well, Dale's awesome at Daytona.
Yeah.
In the last 5 races, he's finished first or second every race except that 2011 race where they did that tandem racing that he couldn't stand. He couldn't wait to get out of the car. But every other race where it was pack racing, he's finished first or second. So with odds like that, I think you almost have to take him. And then when I looked at the other tracks that I wanted to take Earnhardt at, he really excelled at Pocono last year. So I wanted to get at least one start with Earnhardt at Pocono. But there's some other drivers that are good at Pocono too. So I didn't want to use him both races there just once. So I decided to roll with him at Daytona and then go with him again at Pocono.
Well, I don't know if you happened to watch Race Hub yesterday or not, but they interviewed Dale Jr. and they were talking about Dale Sr. winning, it was like 30-some-odd races at Daytona with qualifying races, etc. And Junior wants to double that, so the Earnhardt legacy will never be matched by anybody at Daytona.
He's off to a good start.
Got 3 shots this week.
Somebody like Martin Truex Jr., who was very strong during the Unlimited, how much does that take into account that that's an actual race? That's an actual scenario. Do you take that Martin Truex Jr. in 78, and does that factor into your equations?
Well, Martin Truex Jr.'s had terrible luck recently in Daytona. The race on last Saturday, he's going to have a totally different car, so you really want to see how strong his car looks. Now, he will have Earnhardt Ganassi racing engine in the car, so those types of engines seem to be pretty good on the super speedways. It's just the problem I have with Truex is his luck. The guy just seems to find trouble, and that's the type of guys that you want to stay away from on the super speedways.
Trying to find where he finished 43rd last year, lost an engine on, looks like lap 30.
And he actually, I believe, he started on the front pole, or not on the pole, but on the front row.
Yeah, second place, yep.
Okay, so he did have a strong car, and last year I took him on my team. I thought he was going to be one of the guys, but it was, I think, the 3rd year in a row I got burned by him, so I just got a bad feeling about Truex, so I just tried to stay away from him.
Let's talk season long. 26 races to make the chase. Same thing as last year. You win and you're in. Let's go with top 10 drivers you think are going to get into the chase this year.
I could do a little better. I can give you 12.
You can give me 12.
Yeah. I think this year, with the lack of testing and the numerous rule changes to the cars, that the major teams in the sports, your Hendricks, your Gibbs, your Penske's, Stewart-Haas, those type of teams are really going to dominate. I think you're going to see all 4 cars from Hendrick Motorsports in the chase. I think you're going to see all 4 cars from Joe Gibbs Racing. I think you're going to see the 2 Penske cars for sure. I don't see them falling off much. And I think Stewart-Haas will at least get 2 cars in. right there, that's 2/3 of the chase made up by 4 teams. So I don't think it's going to be like last year where you're going to get a A.J. Allmendinger in, unless he can pull out another win at Sonoma or Watkins Glen or Eric Almirola. I think he'd be a stretch to get in again this year too.
What about Roush Fenway? Can they finally get somebody in the chase, or are they going to still be in a rebuilding year for probably another year or two?
If they do get a driver in the chase, it's got to be Greg Biffle. Now, last week I heard him, it was either NASCAR America or one of the other shows, talking about the engineering department for Roush Fenway. They said that they were analyzing the information wrong last year, and that's why they were so slow, which amazes me that Carl Edwards can win 2 races when they don't even know what information they're looking at. But he said that they finally got it figured out once the chase started. And when you look at the numbers, they did start running a lot better once the chase started.
I wonder who the guy was that was forgetting to carry the 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Had the decimal point in the wrong spot.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, no, that'd have been a heck of a realization. What about Carl Edwards? We've seen this theme the last couple of years of you switch teams and you have a great first year with them. Is Carl going to continue that theme?
I think he will, but the problem is he's going to have a lot of pressure on him because of what other drivers did. You look at what Matt Kenseth did 2 years ago, coming over from Roush Fenway to Joe Gibbs, winning all those races, and then last year Harvick coming over and winning the championship in his first year with Stewart Haas. So the pressure is going to be huge on Carl Edwards, but I interviewed him before down at the Kansas race. And he seems like the type of guy that can handle the pressure, and I think he's really going to excel this year. If he doesn't finish in the top 5, I'd be surprised.
And just see how he gels with Darian Grubb.
That's going to be the interesting one. I think Darian's got talent, but it didn't really work very well for him with Tony Stewart until they fired him, and he started to do better at the end of last year with Denny Hamlin, I think, when he knew that he wasn't coming back with the 11 team. It'll be interesting to see. That driver crew chief chemistry is very important.
Well, he will have a stronger car this year, that's for sure.
Yeah. What else do you want to keep an eye out for as the season's going on? As a fantasy league, what's some more of your strategies as the seasons are going on?
Play the hot hand. Every year, a driver who's supposed to struggle comes out of the gate on fire, and it takes fancy NASCAR players about 5 or 6 weeks to figure it out. If a driver, not so much at Daytona, but if a guy has success at Atlanta and then they go to Vegas and he does well, when they go to Phoenix or California, that might be a driver you want to slip onto your team. Don't wait until 6 weeks down the road to figure out Harvick's got a fast car. By
the time you figure it out, they've cooled off.
Yes.
Yeah. Your strategy seems to be to pick all your drivers all season long. How much do you think you may vary from that? Are you going to pull a driver or two here when somebody hits a hot streak?
Oh, yeah. I always play the hot hand. That's really the key to fancy NASCAR. There's so many different kinds of rules for different games. Like Yahoo, use a driver 9 times during the season. So those type of games, you don't want to play the hot hand all the time. But in games where you use a driver as many times as you want throughout the season, I say just keep using the driver until he cools off. And last year, I rode the Penske drivers, Harvick, all the way to the championship in many leagues.
And see, that's what's kind of, I think, one of the things one of the rules that we did implement was that once in every 5 races, it makes it difficult to be able to pick a driver to be able to ride them like that. So
Now, in your league, you need to kind of map it out.
Yeah.
You need to look at what drivers excel at every track.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to pick Harvick for Daytona knowing that Phoenix is coming up in a couple weeks, because if you don't have Harvick on your team at Phoenix, you're just not paying attention.
Chad Robb, you can go to facebook.com/NASCAR tips from Chad. We'll put a link up to it on our Facebook page, on the Front Stretch Facebook page, so you can check it out. Email him. He'll give you some good advice. I can give you advice, but I think I defer to Chad, though. He's been doing it for 20 years, and I finished second in a 3-man league the only time I've ever done it. So, Chad, appreciate you taking the time out of your morning.
Hey, thank you very much.
We're going to have Chad on as the year goes on to continue giving us updates and thoughts. You going to make it up to Quaker Steak and Lube today?
Don't think so. I got plans. If I would have known, I would have tried to get out there. But, yeah, maybe sometime this season.
That's it. You're fired.
We're going to find a new NASCAR fantasy league expert now.
I feel like Darian Grubb.
Chad, Rob, appreciate you coming in, bud.
Thanks.
Have a good one. All right, we're going to wrap it all up. Well, that's it for the Front Stretch, the first one of the 2015 season, the Daytona 500, just around the corner. Get out to Quaker Steak and Lube today. Dirk and I will be down there. I'll be there at about 11. Dirk, you're going to try and roll in at about noon.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to be there getting you signed up for the Pick'ems contest. Truth be told, you can always sign up for the Pick'ems contest next week or the following week, but you signed up in week number 2 and you were just never able to catch up in 2014.
Well, I missed the first 5 weeks.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
And that was a tough one. But the great thing is we have the 5-week leagues and we have the season-long leagues. We got more information coming on the 5-week leagues. We did pick up some new prizes for that first 5-week league. So, and then some of the prizes we have for the season-long contest, autographed Kyle Larson hero cards, autographed Brad Keselowski hero cards, and autographed Austin Dillon hero cards. 2 pieces of sheet metal from Kyle Larson's number 42 Loudon car from the summer race, and then we also have a replica fire suit polo of Austin Dillon. So those are just a few of the prizes we've already gotten secured for the way everything finishes in the season-long contest. And talked to Joe Koziski before he went down to Speed Weeks. They'll be giving out prizes for I-80 Speedway and some of the big races. We'll get Silver Dollar National tickets. We'll get Midwest Fall Brawl, the big 410 races. We'll get all sorts of those tickets. We'll get World of Outlaws coming several times to this area, so we'll get tickets to those too.
I'm sure Kansas Speedway will help us out come the fall race.
They always help us out with that, and it sounds like we may be heading down to the Kansas race in May for that race.
I'm in.
So it's always tough to drag you to a NASCAR race, isn't it?
Hey, Dan, tell me what you think about this. Since we do have kind of a small supply of the hero cards. Mm-hmm. I think you said you got Kyle Larson. Yep. I know we've got some BK, mm-hmm. and I know now you've got some Austin. Mm-hmm. I think maybe we ought to give one each away at the Quaker Steak.
We will just have to see about that. Maybe we can do that. You'll have to come out today and see if we do that. Quaker Steak and Lube in Council Bluffs. Today I'll be there with my laptop getting you signed up for the Pick'ems contest. We appreciate you joining us this morning and want to say thanks again to Craig Preble for joining us on the phones to talk about his road to recovery, and want to say thanks to Chad for taking the time out of his day to come give us some NASCAR fantasy advice. We'll be back next weekend to cover the Daytona 500, talk about Atlanta. We'll talk so much more information as the Front Stretch rolls on for the 2015 season. Have a good morning. Hope to see you at Quaker Steak and Lube. This has been the Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
If you love wings, if you love rings, and all kinds of other tempting things, great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Quaker Steak and Lube is the official watering hole for the Front Stretch and the best place to catch all the NASCAR action today. Open at 11 a.m. with delivery available to Council Bluffs.
Great times, great food, get to Quaker Steak and Lube.
Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs has taken a page out of IMCA's rulebook and gone crate. These brand new low-emission engines will still have you white-knuckling it all through the Metro's fastest indoor facility. Joe's Karting is now friendly for all skill levels with their brand new Honda-powered engines. It's time to get to Joe's today and find out what drivers like Jack Dover, Shaylee Bate, and Andrew Koziski have known for years. Located in Council Bluffs and online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K.
Sports fans, the brightest stars of NASCAR are about to light up the night again at Kansas Speedway. Megastars Dayton, Danica, Carl, Clint, Jeff, and more. Saturday, May 9th, it's our second annual NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race. Parking is free and coolers welcome. Tickets on sale now with even more seats for $99 or less. Kids tickets just $29. Call 866-460-RACE or visit KansasSpeedway.com today.